I wish Skip would give me my mail as it came. It always arrived in a big wad, a rubber band holding it one twist too tight, the paper offensively abused as if it could only contain bad news. News that you would avoid at all costs. A hearty breath of impending doom in a white Trojan, with the Queen stamped onto its corner as the foreman. Sometimes it wasn't the Queen. Sometimes it was the stamp of a plant or a tree. I often thought it ironic putting pictures of trees on paper. Perhaps if Skip were an inanimate object, he would be as outrageously sardonic. I imagine the only way it was delivered to me was if it happened to fall at his feet as he stood by his desk, and was heavy enough to reach my door if he were to punt it. I do try to be nice to him though, not only because he uses the spare key to let me in when I'm locked out, but because his mother is dimmed. She's not dumb, right? She's dimmed, he barked at me one day. I hadn't said she was dumb. I hadn't said anything at all. They lived together in apartment 1, the landlord's apartment. This particular day I waited at the desk for my mail. I could see it just beyond the lip of the desk on a cabinet. I agonized at the way the rubber band, still taut around the paper, had partly torn. The added tension made it shades lighter. It looked pained. The impending snap looming over me. With a press of my fingernail, I could easily snap it at the smallest part, severing not only the rubber, but its sole function in this world. However, I thought it barbaric to do so. Unfair. The door to apartment 1 opens. Skip is sucking his teeth and slinging a weekend bag over one shoulder. You look beautiful, Ma. Let's go. His hair's still damp from his shower, and he looks at me with those action man eyes. For a moment, I had the bizarre compulsion to be defiant to the awkwardness and poke that dimple in his chin. His mother shuffled through behind him like an afterthought, weighted down at the shoulders as if she had a hefty bag of groceries in each hand. Her eyes were sunken, balls in a shallow well. A shell, as visually comforting as skin a spider has shed. Words escaped me. My eyes glazed as the Rolodex spun, looking for a word to describe such a soul. The door hit the attention bell as it opened. Ma was outside. She's not dumb, right? She's dimmed. Good word. Dimmed. I rent this lease alone, so pulling up a chair to the oven is acceptable. I like to watch the transition the food makes, feel the warmth from the glass radiate through my bones. My neglected stomach is sobbing in the corner, and I console her with a slice of Swiss cheese. She understands this is a precursor to something substantial. I imagine her eating it slowly with her eyes red and puffy. A little child who wasn't invited to play and now sitting on the lap of her father. Look what we have, my sweet. After being in the fridge for days, the pie sweltering and flaking and rising is very liberating for him, I imagine. The chill must be all he has known. The majority of his entire life spent in the chill, where a community reside and contemplate exactly what is going on. I imagine the community is not aggrieved by what I have subjected them to. They have seen the others come and go. Some have been neglected in the chill to wither and spoil and moulder, and others have resided within the white monolith for eons, their immense wisdom an asset to them as they console the newcomers. For them, it's a fact of life. They wonder what lies beyond the chill. Now he is moving on to serve his purpose, and will find out the meaning of the chill. And as I stand in the glow of the main stage with my kerchief overhead, I'm sending off the Titanic. You have spent eons suffering in the blizzards, Mr. Steak and Stilton. You have fared well, and I will enjoy eating you in about... I look at the packet. An hour and 45 minutes from the corner, sobbing, as I think about what exactly happened today. I usually set my alarm for 6 a.m. Not entirely necessary, however, I like to have time in the morning to think and not do anything. To be by myself. It's comfortable. Anyone else would say that these thought processes, the recurring ironing I do with my mind, would be preparation for the day. It doesn't feel like that. Not at all. I would be more inclined to say that I'm clearing cobwebs for the day's new information. Like a round vase with a plug at the base. I pull the chain and drain the fluid. You rub the sleep from your eye and you change the band-aid on your finger. Not entirely necessary to complete your day, but you just know you should. So I do it. I should. I'm untroubled by the fact I've woken before the alarm today. I often notice I'm laying here, looking around my dimly lit room, through the window, out to the street lamp, as if I'm waiting for something to happen. As if my life is just the induction of itself, and I'm at the rear seats of the seminar. One of those 4-week courses where the passing criteria is, did you bring a pen? At least I'm sitting where the cool kids sit. I imagine Skip, my landlord, or Noah, my best friend, to be in these rear seats, being the cool kids they are. Eva would sit by the window, not intentionally impertinent to the lecturer, but unequivocally infected by her world, our world. That garden of hers she is never satisfied with. I always wondered why, resplendent and enthralling as it was. The entire garden was a mirage conducted by Eva herself. I always thought if I threw myself into the heart of it, I would fall right through, as if the earth underneath was as brittle as an old rose, resisting the force of my body like a slice of bread resists the force of my finger. As I make contact, I sanctify this body and inject myself into the next vessel to be reborn. I imagine letting go and falling into the abyss is painless. If there's nothing to land on, there's no way to feel pain. I didn't look to see the time when I woke up, nor did I check it before I left for work. At some point you realise it doesn't even matter. Everything has already happened, and that it's not a case of past, present and future at all. It makes you question whether it's always going to have happened like that, or whether you had any control of it at all. Time is a perception of our brains with which we see things as having happened and happening and to happen. Our language has evolved to accommodate itself to this accordingly, and associates sentimental value to that perception. We feel sorrow for the loss of something that, I believe, was never there to begin with and is immeasurable, as if the brain is placing sentimental value on itself, for it all occurs within involuntary sparks, for lack of a better word, in our brain. It makes me wonder what the next frontier for human development could be. I'm hoping not needing our sensory nervous system to ascertain our concept of reality. Perhaps if there was a world in our brains, we could voluntarily choose to live there. A different wavelength, a higher frequency. Perhaps if our brain could ignite itself unaccompanied by these senses, would be a world that my current neighbour would insist wasn't there. At the end of the day, isn't everything composed of feelings and supported by evidence? Well, I insist, in my world, my feelings are my evidence, and that's everything I need. I'm resigned to the idea that my feelings are my only belongings, that which is mine, and even then I can't control them. The only suspension between real and unreal is the faith you have, or even want to have. Perhaps our sentimental value is what makes anything worthwhile at all. It's feasible that without it, I wouldn't be holding so dearly onto the idea that I could escape the ineluctable nostalgia that comes with time, that I could press stop, or even press pause, just for a moment.
Hey, so that was just a little bit of a story that I've been putting together. I've been writing it over like the past month, and I've only written like the smallest, tiniest bit. There's more to it. If you want to hear that, let me know. Also, I was just wondering if you had any constructive feedback, any ways that I can improve, anyone that likes writing as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Basically, I just thought I'd just read it and weep. Yeah, but there's more to it, so yeah. Thanks for watching, by the way. If you want to hear more, just do the subscribe thing, and yeah, that's it. Why can't I talk today? This is like gonna be, I don't know. Anyway, bye. Look at my shoes.